Are there men who are calling themselves passport boys and are trying to weaponize this against black women, where they're like, bitch, I'm done with you, and they're making
Right.
content, and these guys ain't traveled nowhere, can't travel nowhere, and ain't
Right.
going nowhere?
Right.
Yes, those Negroes exist.
Right.
Yes, they do. But to try to paint the whole passport bro movement with that brush is a mischaracterization, is disingenuous.
Okay. Yeah, Marty. Again. Let me be clear to everyone in here right now. I'm not saying that Marty was saying I was. I'm not trying to paint all of the passport bros, and Marty and I may disagree on this. I personally believe that I believe majority of them are those guys. That's what I personally believe. Because this is my thing, Marty. You are right, Marty. I agree with you. I agree with you on it is very hard to find these days. I agree with you that most of them are not being raised to be these traditional women. But Marty, I also think, like, Marty, a man like yourself, Marty, a man like yourself, I mean, I know you have a woman right now, but like, even if you didn't have a woman, Marty, like, even when you were having fun, doing your thing, I just think, Marty, that a man that does have, like, Marty, a man of your stature, right? Even a young man of my stature, like, again, we deal and have dealt with great black women. I just don't Marty, I think that these guys that have their stuff together, that have this money, I think this isn't even a problem for them, for real, Marty. Like, Jay-Z said, if you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. So, like,
I
I'm
know,
not
but
even be
it's not
funny, but
about a
like,
bitch, Noble. It's about a wife. And
it
wives are in. I was on a live earlier today with a young girl, and she was talking about how she had broken up with her man, and we had talked, and she was definitely somebody who had wifely qualities and was dating towards marriage, and she had the right mindset and everything. And bro, she isn't. The women like that are in short supply, bro. So there are a lot of men where you're right. They don't qualify for those women because there's whenever something is scarce, its value increases. And so women like that can demand a higher price. And there are still men who deserve, if you're a Mexican man, you don't have to be a multiple six-figure
I
earner to
say
get a
that. I say that.
submissive cooperative
I
wife.
know, I
You
know,
can
Marty. We have
you can
us,
work in
us
front of a Home
we have
Depot
Eastern
and
Negro.
sell oranges and come home to a wife that's willing to cooperate
Yeah,
with you. But
correct.
in our community, if you want a woman to cooperate with you, you need to be able to retire her and
Yes,
her mama, and she
yes,
needs a white Porsche
yes.
truck.
I agree.
And there's a lot of men who are like, hey, this is bullshit. I'll go where I'm wanted. I can go and get with a woman a Filipino woman or an African woman that will
Yeah.
get a job and work and
Yep.
still listen to me. And
Yep.
so I'm going to go there since I'm a bullet bag, since I'm dusty, since I'm crusty, since
Yep.
I ain't shit, or I'm
Yep.
gay, or I'm down low, or
Yep.
whatever the hell you want to say about me. They're sick
All
of
that.
arguing about it. There's a
Yeah.
woman in the comment section, and she said, Noble, she said feminism is a response to misogyny, or misogyny, right? I like calling it misogyny. Check this out. Think whatever you want. Men are sick of arguing with you about you being cooperative. So if you don't want to cooperate with men because of feminism, which is a white woman's argument, okay, black men have never had the institutional power to oppress black women. You was the maid and I was the butler. We've been working side by side for the last 400 years in this country, and you sitting up talking about some fucking feminism or misogyny. Okay, so if you want to deal with the patriarchy and the misogyny, then you on your own, because men who want wives don't need to solve these humongous problems of patriarchy and misogyny before they can fucking find a wife. Because y'all still having kids, ladies. You're having kids, and the majority of the kids that are being produced in our community are by the least of us. So you're sitting up calling men dusty that aren't dusty, and then having babies with niggas who are dusty, and then coming on here and talking about patriarchy and misogyny. A lot of people are sick of having a duplicitous bullshit circular conversation with you. If you don't want to be married and you don't want to be a wife because you don't want to work with a man, or you do want to be married but you want a man to submit to you, find men who want to do that with you. But I'm going to tell you this one secret, and then I'm going to yield to Noble.
Okay.
Marriage is a traditional concept. So the men who want it the most are traditional men, and they want traditional wives. And traditional doesn't mean that you cook and clean and you walk around the house barefoot and pregnant. Traditional means we believe in gender roles, and it is an assignment of authority, and that we're on a team and I'm the team leader. And most of you sit up and talk about the least of us when we talk about that. But there are good black men. And the question you should be asking yourself, ladies, if all you can do and all you can respond to that point is that, oh, well, you a Pookie and you this and you that, and you want a woman to submit to you, is why don't you qualify for any of the good black men? Because there are good black men. So why is it that that you're talking to me about Pookies when I'm talking about husbands? Because you attract what you are. So I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you guys that people are sick of going back and forth with you about cooperation. And there are a lot of men who are choosing to walk off the chessboard. And you can argue about this feminism and patriarchy and all of this bullshit with the Pookie and the Ray Rays who are giving you 3 and 4 different kids.
Okay, Marty. So Marty, listen, listen, Marty, I've been saying this in my past few streams, about us black men having to be superb Negroes in order for our women to see value in us and deem us worthy to be in a relationship with. That's facts. We agree on that. But Marty, you're a finance guy. I'm a finance guy. And Marty, the other day, you and I were talking about, when it comes to dating, you have to charge stuff to the game. So being that you have to charge stuff to the game, Marty, when we talking about, the economics of everything and the supply and the demand, the reason that these women, these specific set of women are so hard to find these days is because they are being consumed, if you will, ladies. I'm not saying that in a negative manner, but they are giving their attention. Their attention is being occupied. Their attention and time is being occupied by those top whatever percent of us men, Marty. And it's the same. It's the same thing, vice versa. For the woman, like Marty was saying, ladies. And that's why I say, like, you don't qualify for what it is that you want, or you're not attracting what it is that you want. I've said that. I've been talking about the whole not attracting what you want thing for ages. But so for the women, you're not getting those guys because you don't qualify for those guys. So you think that there's not a lot of these guys, and for us men, you think that not a good amount. There's not a lot of these women because these women are with a small percentage of us. A large percentage of those women are with a small percentage of us. I'm a young man. I'm not rich yet. Marty's made a lot of money, but like Marty's not super rich either. And if someone like myself, if someone like all of us on this panel, even though my brother Devontae, his fiance is Caucasian, but he's experienced great black women as well. If we can experience these great black women, there's no reason why. If you gotta be like a bottom feeder, you gotta be dead near a bottom of the barrel black man to just not be able to come across one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Marty. He has to be, because if you and myself and all of our brothers can come across one, if you can't come across one in America, Marty, you got to be. There's just no. I can't think of any other reason that you can't just come across one that wants to like get with your program and wants to build with you. I'm sorry, Marty. I can't.
You can come across one. Just a lot of them, a lot of the traditional black women, they get snatched up. Just like men who have their shit together, they get snatched up. We
Right.
snatch them. When you think about it, ladies, and I want you guys to think about it. Have you ever dated a man and then after you guys stopped, and 6 months later, a year later, the dude was married,
Right.
and you like, damn, he's married already because he was a husband. And when you have somebody who's a husband, then they're boom. It's like that. Boom. When you have a woman that's a wife, if men are looking for them and they get snatched up, you ain't on the market long. If you fit,
Exactly.
friendly, cooperative, submissive, you got your shit together, you ain't got somebody else's kids, you still in your 20s, you
Right.
gone. If you
Right.
want a husband, you ain't out here doing this body count don't matter shit, riding the cock carousel, you're gone. So I know that black women are not a monolith. And
Right.
I know that we have good black women that are here in the United States. And
Yep.
so I advocate for black men to find those women. I don't advocate for them to go anywhere else to find anybody else. But if you decide to do that, I'm looking at the numbers. I ain't mad at you, homie, but I'm not going to tell you to do that because I know too many sisters here that are getting it right, that deserve a good husband. So that's what I advocate for. But I'm not against passport bros. I'm
Yeah,
just
okay.
not.
Okay, Marty, can we agree on this? Because Marty, my thing is, if you want to go to Nigeria, if you want to go to Liberia, if you want to go to Ethiopia, if you want to go to Somalia and go get one of those women, I don't have a problem with that, Marty. My problem, Marty, can we agree on this, Marty? If a man wants to do that, should he get on the internet and be showing his passport and talking about how our women aren't traditional and this, that, and the third? That's what I don't disagree with, and that's what I dislike.
Okay, so yeah, I don't like it. So check this out. I make content that is corrective towards our men and towards our women, right? However, I don't believe in dragging our women, okay? Because they got enough shit going on. Okay. It's hard enough here without black men trying to kick you while you're down. Now, there are things that I say that are tough to hear because I believe that it's imperative for the black man to wrestle back the black male image. The black male image, the people who speak the worst about us are our women.
Women, yeah,
And the narratives that are being spread that are ugly about us are being spread by our women. And
and vice versa,
so
and vice versa.
well, yes, to a degree, right? But I don't want us to fall into a separate rabbit hole. We got
Yeah,
40
yeah,
years of
yeah.
nationally syndicated television
Right,
that
right.
is telling everybody in the world that black men ain't shit. They're gay. They're down low. They're prison bunnies. There's no good black men. The black woman is having such a hard time because she's fabulous and ain't no good black men out here. That was Ricky Lake Montel. That was Oprah. That was
I know, I know.
you know what I'm saying? That was 40, 50 years of television where black women told the whole world for daytime talk TV that black men wouldn't shit, and black men had no platforms whatsoever to combat that. Okay. And now in the last 5 years, you've seen the rise of the manosphere, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, where men are now speaking up for themselves because we can make our own platforms. And so I don't think it's equal to say, hey, we both do it to each other when you got 40 years of women doing that. And then the response from the men is backed by data, statistics, and facts. Like, hey, stop saying this about us because the facts are actually this. These are the percentage of single mothers, women, children outside of wedlock, men who are having babies outside of wedlock. Look, it's not enough of the black men for you to keep saying that this is all black men, right? So I don't agree that it's the same thing happening on both sides. But here's what I do
Okay,
think:
okay.
a lot of the passport bro content, what you will find, a lot of it is a response to black women being like, we don't want you anyways. You ain't shit. You dusty, this, that, and the other. They're women who make passport bro videos where they're bashing these men. And then you find guys who are part of the movement who are willing to say something back. So I see more content focused on that than I see black men just making content that isn't stitched, that isn't a response to something where they're like, hey, I got my passport and I'm out. Fuck these hoes. They ain't shit. So I do see that, but I don't see nearly as much of that as I see videos that are responses to black women being like, you ain't shit, your mama ain't shit, and your daddy ain't shit, and y'all ain't never gonna be shit. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
that's
Marty,
my opinion of it.
as far as pertaining to the content, I'll slightly disagree with you on that as well. There is a lot of truth to what you just said, Marty, but me personally, from what I see black men being the initiators, and I see black women that respond, and I see black women that are the initiators, and I see black men that respond. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to say that I see black men do more initiating or that I see black women do more initiating, but I see both initiate and I see both respond. I don't want to say that I see more so women being the initiators and black men responding though. So I'll respectfully disagree with you on that as well.
Hey, I love respectful disagreement. And I understand where you guys are coming from. And I do not advocate for men to leave the country. I advocate for them to look for our good sisters that are here. And I also do not advocate for or sign off on men who are using a passport bro movement to bash women. If you want to leave the country because America is as a culture that is not trying to produce traditional cooperative wives, the culture of America, the dominant narratives in this country on television, this, that, and the other have absolutely nothing to do with men being in leadership roles in their household. You go back over the last 20 years of television, every father in a household is a bumbling idiot and his wife is the one that's in charge, who knows everything and is smart, and the man can't even manage the home one day if the wife leaves, and this, that, and the other. You got Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin and all of these guys, and the dudes are idiots and shit like that. So we got this constant narrative that's being pumped to women that men are idiots, and that if you have a husband, he's a weight around your neck and not the wind beneath your wings. And that shit is something where I think it's downloaded into most women, where they're like, we don't even need men. I'm single, independent. I don't need a man. We don't even need. What do you need a man for? Blah, 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 blah. You hear this shit from women constantly. You
Yeah.
can't find men talking about, I
They
don't
don't.
need a woman.
Yeah, we
It's
agree on
difficult to find men saying that.
that. Marty, you know
Heterosexual
we agree.
men can't even
You know,
say that shit.
you know we agree on
So, right.
it. Yeah.
And then you got women like this one in the comments. She said, we don't need them. We want them. Let me tell you something, ma'am, Jackie. I tell men to avoid women who say, I want a man. I don't need a man. Because the man you select when you pick a motherfucker you want versus the man you select when you pick a man you need are two different dudes. You pick a man who's 6'4". You pick a guy with green eyes. You pick a guy with that long dick that can hit the back spot behind the back spot. You need a man that's loyal. You need a man that's a hard worker. You need a man with character. So the man that you pick when you pick a motherfucker you want is not the man you pick when you pick a man that you need. And so though I want a man, I don't need a man. I tell men who are traditional protector providers, who want a traditional outcome in their home, who want to be husbands to their wives and providers and start families, I tell them to avoid women who are so fixated on this ego-driven rhetoric where they're going to argue with you over the word want or need. Leave those women alone. They're combative. That's why it's so important for them to assert themselves that way.
Man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time that you've probably seen my business partner and I disagree. This is the first time y'all be like, man, no will be so hyped. No will be setting the stage for him and trying to. Y'all seen us disagree. Y'all saw us go back and forth today. So y'all cut that narrative going forward, okay? Marty, I appreciate you, brother. You can stay up here if you want to, or if you can drop